Have you ever thought about how sometimes these really specific niche markets can actually tell us a lot about huge global trends? Like, what would you guess is a really fast-growing, but maybe kind of overlooked area in health and nutrition right now? Well, today's deep dive is hitting exactly one of those spots, the legumes dietary fibers market. Our mission today is basically to unpack the main findings, the forecasts from this report by Cognitive Market Research. It's called the Legumes Dietary Fibers Market Forecast 2021-2033. Think of this as, your shortcut to understanding where this pretty interesting market is heading.
Exactly. And market forecasts like this one, they're not just lists of numbers. They really give us a glimpse, maybe potential shifts in what consumers are prioritizing for health globally.
Yeah.
Also, broader trends, in food production and even how regional economies might be changing. And just to be clear for everyone listening, when we say legumes dietary fibers, we're talking about those functional ingredients. They come from things like peas, beans, lentils. Food companies are using them more and more to, well, boost the fiber in everything from bread and snacks to those plant-based meat alternatives. It's really driven by people getting interested in gut health and obviously the big shift towards more plant-based eating. So we're going to start with that global view, the big picture. Then we'll drill down into specific places, regions, countries, see where things are really moving.
Okay, sounds good. Let's unpack it. Big picture first, then.
Yeah.
So globally, this legumes dietary fibers market, it was already pretty substantial back in 2021, generated over $1 billion, right? The number was 1,127.43 million.
That's right. And the growth they're expecting, it's genuinely impressive. The projection is for the market to hit nearly $1.5 billion by 2025. And then look at this, almost double again to reach over $2.5 billion. That's 2,518.48 million by 2033. That works out to a pretty robust compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about 6.9%.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of sustained growth, it really points to a fundamental shift, in consumer demand and what the industry is focusing on.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It's not just the overall big number growing. It's about understanding the why behind it, the specific drivers, and how the pace is different in, different parts of the world. So let's zoom in. Let's look at that regional breakdown and see what stories these numbers tell us. Okay, start with North America, what's happening there. The report shows revenue climbing quite a bit, from around $287 million in 2021 to over $366 million by 2025, and the projection, nearly $600 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of just over 6.2%. So solid growth.
Solid, yeah. And if we dive into the countries within North America, the United States, it's the biggest market in terms of, sheer volume. It showed steady growth. It's looking to more than double, from about $234 million back in 21 to nearly $477 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of just over 6.1%.
Okay.
But interestingly, Canada actually, it outpaced the U.S. within the region. Canada saw its market grow from roughly $30 million to over $67 million. And its CAGR is higher, getting close to 7%, 6.991 to be exact.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Mexico also saw, solid growth, moving from about $23.5 million up to nearly $50 million by 2033. What really stands out, like you said, is Canada's faster acceleration compared to the U.S. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe a quicker uptake of fiber-rich diets there. Could be specific health campaigns or maybe different food labeling rules that encourage these ingredients more. Hard to say just from the numbers, but it's a notable difference.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, so from North America's steady growth with that Canadian boost, let's head over to Europe. What's the story looking like there? I imagine it's quite varied given all the different countries and economies.
It is, yeah. In Europe, the revenue went from about $223 million in 21 up to nearly $285 million by 2025. And it's heading towards almost $470 million by 2033. The overall CAGR for Europe is around 6.4%.
Okay, similar ballpark to North America overall, maybe slightly higher.
Slightly higher, yeah. But within Europe, you definitely see a much wider spread in the growth rates between countries. So, for example, Germany really stands out. It's got a strong CAGR, over 7.1%, projected to more than double its market size from around $44 million up to over $100 million.
Wow.
The UK is also pretty robust, about 6.7% CAGR. Spain, too, showing impressive growth, around 6.74%. But then you contrast that with, say, Russia. Its CAGR is more modest, about 5.3%. And France is just under 5.8%. And then you have others like Luxembourg, Switzerland, Italy, Denmark. They show varied growth, but generally a bit lower compared to Germany's rate.
Right. So it really raises that question, like you said before, why such a spread within one continent?
Exactly. And the report gives us the what, the numbers, but not always the deep why for each specific country. But, you could speculate maybe it's different levels of consumer awareness about gut health or national dietary guidelines varying, maybe even local food companies being more or less innovative with these fibers. Lots of potential factors.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears now. Asia Pacific. The report flags this region as showing particularly strong growth. Sounds like a real standout. It went from about $469 million in 2021, jumping to over $625 million by 2025, and projected to just skyrocket, really, to over $1.1 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of almost 7.5%.
Right. It's truly remarkable, yeah. Asia Pacific definitely emerges as the fastest growing region overall for these fibers, and several countries there are really driving that. You look at India, for instance, it's leading the pack. An impressive TGR of nearly 8.4%.
8 point.
Yeah. Seeing its market grow from about $63 million to well over $166 million projected by 2033. Southeast Asia as a whole, also very strong, nearly 8% TAGR. Singapore's close behind that, 7.8%. And China, of course, it's a huge market. It's a massive contributor, too, with a 7.7% CAGR, expected to reach over $330 million.
Huge numbers.
Absolutely. And then you've got other key players, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Taiwan, all showing really solid growth too. This rapid expansion in Asia Pacific, it really highlights like growing demand for plant-based stuff and the increasing focus on health and wellness, particularly in those emerging economies. It kind of makes you think, are we going to start seeing even more products boosted with fiber showing up here, reflecting what's already taking off over there?
That's a good point. And that 8.4% for India is just, wow, really remarkable within the whole market picture. Okay, let's quickly cover the remaining big regions, South America, Middle East, Africa. What are their trajectories looking like?
Sure. So South America, the market there is also set to more than double. It goes from about $68 million in 2021 to over $156 million by 2033. That's growing at a strong 7.2% CAGR. And Argentina, within South America, shows particularly strong growth. Its market size could nearly triple, hitting almost $30 million. That's a 7.7% CAGR.
Very strong.
Yep, then the Middle East also expected to more than double, scaling up from roughly $43 million to almost $99 million by 2033. That's about 7.2% CGR. And the UAE really stands out there, very high growth, 7.8% CGR. Turkey is also robust at almost 7.5%.
Okay, and Africa?
Africa's revenues are set to more than double as well, rising from about $37 million to over $84 million. The key AGR there is about 6.5%, so a little lower than South America and the Middle East, but still very solid growth. Within Africa, South Africa shows a stronger CAGR, around 7% compared to Nigeria, which is also growing steadily, though, about 6.7%.
Right. So, okay, we've covered the globe now. We've seen the overall picture, the doubling from 2021 to 2033. We've seen these regional hotspots, especially Asia Pacific, leading the charge. So looking at all of this, what does it really mean for the bigger picture of this market? What are the key things we should take away?
Well, if you connect all those dots, you get this really comprehensive picture, right? It shows consistent, strong global growth for legumes dietary fiber. Like you said, more than doubling projected from just over $1.1 billion up to over $2.5 billion by 2033. And it really highlights those regions and specific countries where both the current size and the growth rate are strongest. Asia Pacific is clearly the main growth engine. It's got the highest regional AMBGR. South America and the Middle East showing very strong growth too. But beyond just the numbers, what this really signals, I think, is a global shift, a pivot towards functional foods, towards plant-based nutrition. We're seeing consumers everywhere becoming more aware of ingredients like these dietary fibers, thinking about gut health, overall well-being. This isn't just some niche fad. It feels like a more fundamental shift in how people are thinking about food and health.
Yeah, that's a great summary. And for you, the listener, this whole deep dive, hopefully, it shows how looking closely at these market forecasts can reveal really powerful trends, not just for business or investment, but really in how global health and diets are evolving. It's a good reminder, isn't it, that sometimes the biggest changes are happening in these seemingly quiet corners of an industry like food.
Absolutely. And maybe it leaves you with a question to think about. Given these really diverse growth rates we've seen across all these regions and countries, and we talked about potential drivers like awareness or innovation, how might the specific, cultural food habits or maybe the different regulatory environments in various parts of the world, how might those things either speed up or maybe slow down the adoption of these kinds of functional ingredients over the next decade or so.
That's a really interesting question to ponder. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope you feel much more informed about this fascinating and clearly rapidly growing market for legumes, dietary fibers.
Have you ever noticed just how many new plant-based options seem to be popping up everywhere in the grocery store lately?
Oh, definitely.
Or maybe found yourself scanning ingredient labels and you're thinking, how are they packing so much fiber and, good stuff into these products these days?
Yeah.
It feels like there's this sort of quiet revolution happening, maybe in our pantries.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into an area that's really at the heart of a lot of that innovation.
Okay.
It's the Legumes Dietary Fibers market. Now, this is a rapidly expanding segment, and it's really capturing the attention of, well, everyone from food scientists to health brands, clean label
It
advocates.
really is.
And we're going to unpack exactly why this is such a fascinating space right now.
And our mission for this deep dive really is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from the sources we've looked at for you.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go beyond just the facts, give you that kind of aha moment.
Right.
We want to help you understand not just what's driving this market, but why these forces are so profoundly shaping, the future of food,
Mm-hmm.
and also the unique challenges these fibers face. Plus, the exciting trends shaping their journey, basically from the farm to the functional food you eat.
Yeah, because this directly relates to the foods you might already be seeing, maybe in the grocery aisles, or even the dietary choices you're making.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What is it about legume fibers specifically that makes them so uniquely positioned for this moment? Are they just like riding the plant-based wave, or are they actually helping drive it?
That's a great question.
Our sources point to some pretty fascinating forces at play. So, first up, and this is maybe the obvious one, is the increasing demand for plant-based and functional foods.
Right. Can't miss that one.
We've all seen vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian lifestyles really move from niche to, well, pretty mainstream, hasn't they? And consumers are actively looking not just for high protein options, but also for gut-friendly ingredients that actually align with their values.
Hmm.
What's insightful here, I think, is that legumes, you know, packed with dietary fiber, prebiotics, they don't just fit this demand. They're diverse fiber profiles, like the resistant starches in peas or the soluble fibers in lentils. I mean, they can be almost engineered to meet really specific health needs.
Yeah, needs that maybe other plant fibers can't quite match in the same way.
Exactly. So it's not just about adding bulk fiber, it's more like precision nutrition, and it helps with that clean label appeal, too.
And what's fascinating here is how these fibers directly address not just these sort of evolving dietary preferences, but also fundamental, really pressing health needs, which actually leads us nicely to our next major driver.
Okay.
Legume fibers are, well, they're uniquely rich in both soluble and insoluble forms.
Right. I've heard those terms. What does that mean practically?
Well, it's not just a technical detail.
Mm-hmm.
It means they play these crucial complementary roles in the body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, helping maintain bowel regularity, sure,
The basics.
the basics, but also stabilizing blood sugar
Mm.
and actively helping to reduce bad cholesterol.
Ah, okay.
And, as lifestyle-related diseases like obesity and diabetes keep rising, consumers are, well, they're desperately seeking dietary
Yeah,
solutions.
makes sense.
And in that context, legume fibers are really emerging as kind of heroes in products like fortified cereals, protein bars, health-forward convenience foods. It's about providing that foundational wellness through everyday items.
So, okay, it's clear these fibers are powerful for health, but where are they actually ending up? Especially in, the processed foods that many of us eat daily.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the average modern diet, like you said, there's often a pretty significant fiber gap. How are these, well, humble legumes making their way into that space?
That brings us right to our third major driver, the significant growth of the processed food and nutraceutical sectors.
Nutraceuticals, okay.
Yeah, modern consumers aren't just eating more processed foods, they're demanding more from them. They want convenience, sure, but they also want nutrition.
Right, the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So legume fibers are being adopted as these really versatile, functional enhancements in, well, everything from baked goods and dairy substitutes to supplements.
Mm.
But what's truly transformative, I think, are the technological improvements in how we extract and formulate these fibers.
Ah, the science bit.
the science bit.
Hmm.
These advancements are letting food companies dramatically improve product texture, palatability, and nutrition. They're finally helping to close that common fiber gap we see in so many urban diets, crucially, without sacrificing taste or mouthfeel.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Because every fast-growing market, no matter how promising it seems, always has its hurdles, right?
Always.
What's holding these amazing fibers back from even wider adoption? What are the roadblocks?
Well, one major restraint, and it might sound simple, but it's actually a really complex scientific problem, is the unpleasant taste and texture that certain legume fibers can introduce.
Ah, the taste factor.
Yeah, and it's not just unpleasant in a vague way. The real insight is how stubbornly these sort of off notes can cling, even at really low concentrations.
Hmm.
Some can impart a bitter taste or a gritty mouthfeel, and that makes them incredibly hard to use effectively in mass market, things like beverages or creamy dairy products, or especially anything aimed at kids.
Yeah, kids are tough critics.
Exactly. So this isn't a simple fix. It's a really high-stakes chemical puzzle for food scientists.
Mm.
Overcoming these sensory issues is, well, it's a crucial hurdle for product innovation.
That off-putting taste or feel is a huge hurdle, absolutely. I mean, if it doesn't taste good, people just won't eat it, right?
Fundamentally, yes.
But surely the industry isn't just like shrugging its shoulders. Are there innovative workarounds or processing techniques emerging to try and tackle that specific challenge? And beyond our palates, what about our minds? Is consumer understanding a bottleneck too?
You're absolutely right. It's a constant battle. And yeah, we'll definitely get into the innovation happening soon. But another significant challenge is indeed limited consumer knowledge.
Okay.
So while general awareness about fiber is rising globally, which is great,
Yeah.
there's still a real lack of understanding around the unique benefits of legume-derived fiber specifically.
Ah, okay. The specifics matter.
They really do.
Yeah.
And this is particularly true in developing regions. Factors there like weaker labeling laws, maybe limited marketing education, and just deeply ingrained traditional eating habits are really slowing down the adoption of these incredibly functional ingredients.
Right. It's hard to demand something if you don't know it exists or why it's good for you.
Precisely. You can't value what you don't understand.
Mm. And beyond consumer perception and taste, what about the very foundation? Getting the raw materials. If demand suddenly skyrockets, is the supply chain, fragile?
That brings us to a critical third obstacle: instability in the production of the legume crops themselves.
Ah, back to the farm.
Right back to the farm. We're talking about things like climate change, water scarcity, inconsistent yields of raw materials, chickpeas, peas, lentils, you name it.
Wow.
This isn't just like an inconvenience for planning. It leads to really unpredictable supply chains.
Okay.
And that volatility creates pricing uncertainty. It can severely disrupt manufacturing schedules, especially for those suppliers who are serving the really large-scale food and beverage companies.
Yeah, they need reliability.
Absolutely. So it's a fundamental agricultural challenge that's directly impacting this cutting-edge food ingredient market.
So despite these pretty significant challenges, I mean, from taste to supply to awareness, it does sound like there's an incredible amount of ingenuity, a lot of innovation happening to push this market forward.
Oh, definitely.
What are the big breakthroughs? What are the transformative trends we're seeing right now that are trying to overcome these things?
Well, one of the most prominent trends, and it's really gaining serious momentum, is the increasing use of legume fibers, specifically in prebiotic and gut health products.
Ah, the microbiome. Everyone's talking about that.
Exactly. There's just this exploding awareness around the intricate world of our gut microbiome, and its, frankly, profound influence on everything from mood to immunity.
It's amazing.
It really is. So fibers that specifically nourish the good bacteria, things like resistant starches and oligosaccharides, which legumes often have, they're gaining serious traction.
So where would we see those?
Well, we're seeing these ingredients featured prominently in everything from, say, yogurt drinks and nutrition bars to specialty fiber powders marketed directly towards those wellness-conscious consumers. It's a direct response to a much more sophisticated understanding of our, inner ecosystem.
So beyond just general gut health, where else are they showing up in maybe unexpected ways, particularly for people with specific dietary needs? Does using them always work perfectly for manufacturers, or are there trade-offs, say, in gluten-free products?
That's a great point, and it leads to the next trend: the clever integration of legume fibers in gluten-free and allergen-free formulations.
Okay.
As more and more consumers avoid gluten or common allergens, food developers are turning to legumes like lentils and chickpeas, as a really natural, nutritious alternative.
Makes sense?
And they play this dual crucial role here. First, they help build essential structure in things like breads, pastas, snacks, which, as you know, can be a huge challenge in gluten-free baking.
Oh, yeah. Structure is tough without gluten.
It really is.
Yeah.
And second, at the same time, they significantly enhance the fiber content. So it truly is often a double benefit. You get improved nutrition and that much-needed allergen-friendly appeal. Now, are there trade-offs? Sure, formulation is always a balancing act, managing water absorption, texture. But often they offer fewer downsides than other alternatives in that space.
That is really clever. And okay, on the technology side, how are producers actually making these fibers even better? Like
Yeah.
smoother, more stable, more palatable, addressing some of those taste and texture challenges we talked about earlier.
Yeah, there's a massive focus right now on R&D, specifically in clean extraction methods and performance-enhancing fiber blends.
Okay, clean extraction.
Yeah, basically greener processing methods
Mm,
using less harsh chemicals, maybe physical processing, that are dramatically improving the solubility and, crucially, the taste profile of legume fibers.
getting rid of those off notes.
Trying to, yes. And at the same time, manufacturers are getting very sophisticated. They're combining different legume fibers or mixing them with other plant-derived fibers to create these multifunctional blends.
Tailor-made fibers almost.
Exactly. Tailored for specific applications, think clear beverages, where solubility is key, or stable frozen foods, or very precise dietary supplements.
Wow.
These are what we're starting to call next-generation fibers. They're designed to be smoother, more stable, and just far better suited to the evolving demands of modern food products. They're directly tackling those mouthfeel and palatability issues head-on.
So, okay, what does this all mean when we sort of put it all together? It sounds like a really dynamic, complex, but definitely incredibly promising space.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary. The legumes dietary fibers market is definitely witnessing a strong surge. It's driven by really compelling, health-conscious consumer demand, for sure.
Mhm.
Also by growing functional food applications that really go beyond just simple nutrition now.
Right.
And crucially, by these significant advancements in fiber extraction and formulation technology we just talked about.
Mm.
But to
Exactly.
truly reach its full potential, the market has to keep working to overcome those persistent sensory limitations. The taste, the texture,
Yeah.
it needs to mitigate the supply chain risks that are just inherent in agricultural products.
Yeah.
And it absolutely has to bridge those crucial consumer awareness gaps, especially in certain parts of the world.
So, if you listening are interested in food innovation or maybe health product development, or even if you're just curious about the subtle yet powerful ingredients that are quietly reshaping your plate, this is clearly a space you'll want to watch closely. It feels like, as I said before, a quiet revolution in the making.
It really does. And maybe this raises an important final question for you to think about.
Yeah.
As our understanding of human nutrition gets deeper and deeper,
Yeah.
how much further can we actually push common ancient ingredients like legumes to solve complex modern dietary needs?
Hmm.
And maybe more importantly, what entirely new consumer expectations will that create for the food industry in the years to come?